Working in development is often difficult. The World Bank Group's independent evaluation group looks back at the bank group's experience. It assesses what works, what doesn't, and why. Here's their assessment of electricity access.
Access to electricity is transformative. It enables better education, healthcare, water supply, essential communications, and opportunities for income generation. Almost 1.1 billion people globally have no access to electricity. Nearly 600 million of these live in sub-Saharan Africa. This number in sub-Saharan Africa will rise to 935 million by 2030 because present electrification efforts are not able to catch up with population growth. This means that the benefits from electricity access will bypass another generation in sub-Saharan Africa. Meanwhile, South Asia and lagging nations in East Asia are on track to narrow the access gap by 2030.
So, the electricity challenge is mainly centered in sub-Saharan Africa?
Yes. To see this even more clearly, note that there are 51 countries around the world with less than half of their people connected to electricity. Of these 51 low-access countries, fully 40 are in sub-Saharan Africa.
Is the global development community focusing on these issues?
Yes, the global development community recognizes the importance and urgency of these issues. The Sustainable Energy for All initiative of the United Nations and the World Bank Group commits to achieving universal access to electricity by 2030.
How are we placed for achieving the SE for All goal for electricity access, especially for sub-Saharan Africa?
At present, the outlook is bleak. The Sustainable Energy for All goal calls for a massive increase from the present pace of connecting 1.6 million new households per year in low-access countries to 14.6 million households per year until 2030. And the corresponding amount of investment needed must increase from $3.6 billion per year to $37 billion per year from now to 2030.
So, what can the World Bank Group do to move low-access countries, especially those in sub-Saharan Africa, towards universal electricity access?
The World Bank Group's lending resource can only go so far, but the World Bank Group can play a huge role in helping countries put in place credible plans, policies and regulation that can not only attract much-needed resources from the private sector, but also bring together other donors and players. This means going far beyond the present project-by-project approach, which we have seen falls short of scale and speed.
What gives us confidence that this can be done?
IAG's evaluation highlights best practice examples of rapid access scale-up, many with the World Bank Group involvement. Vietnam, Lao PDR, and Indonesia moved from low to high or universal access in less than 20 years. Bangladesh and Mongolia have rapidly scaled up use of off-grid solar home systems, so that people do not have to wait for the grid to reach them to receive basic electricity services such as lighting, television, and basic communication. And Rwanda and Kenya show positive developments in improving access.
What can we learn from these success stories that are useful to low-access countries?
IAG's evaluation reveals a pattern of underlying principles in the success stories: preparing and adhering to a nationwide access rollout plan, maintaining financial stability of sector utilities for effective operations and to attract investment, especially from the private sector, targeting the poor to ensure affordability, and, importantly, a unified government vision and committed leadership that provides and sticks to the appropriate policies and regulation to allow all this to happen.
How can the World Bank Group help countries move towards the SE for All goal for electricity access?
Specifically, IAG's evaluation recommends that the World Bank Group should engage intensively with low-access countries, especially in sub-Saharan Africa, with their governments in the driving seat, help willing and ready low-access countries move towards a sector-wide organizing framework and process for implementing rapid access scale-up, help such countries to design an investment financing platform to crowd in financial resources from both public and private sources. Achieving universal access to electricity by 2030 presents a formidable challenge, especially in sub-Saharan Africa, but it is a challenge that the World Bank Group can help overcome along with country clients and partners, employing innovative strategies informed by experience and evidence. For more information, go to ieg.worldbankgroup.org.